This interview right here is a brand new one. We had an interview from the Atmo Esports, and this is another one that Chris Roberts took or had during the Atmo Esports event. It's separate from that one, and there's a lot of good information here. So we're going to listen through and see what he has to say. It's about 9 minutes long. Hopefully there's some good stuff here. I heard there was. Let's go into it.
I would say that Star Citizen was unfinished business.
He's going to get memed on for that one.
I think when we launched in 2012, it was a different time in the internet. I think it was more hopeful, more optimistic, less cynical. I think one of the major problems with doing something that's as long-term as Star Citizen and as big and as ambitious as Star Citizen is if you're part of the community and you see us, because we do updates, the community video updates, we show them what we're doing, we have roadmaps. In terms of, I think, being a developer that shares and is open, I think we sort of set the standard. And I think when we started in 2012, that was one of the things that we did first that a lot of other people didn't. So we had all this openness, which I think if you know it, you're like, oh yeah, this is a real game. But if you don't, and you've just said, wasn't that something that got crowdfunded like all those years ago, you may be a bit skeptical because you don't. I mean, I generally find that. I mean, I run into people that say, oh, I backed that like 12 years ago. Is it done yet? I'm like, you can play it now if you want. You look at the videos. I mean, you got.
Gosh, I would hate to be Chris, dude. You're walking around town and some like 90-year-old man is like, I backed that 50 years ago. Did you do it yet? And then he has to answer every single one of them. Yeah, that's no thanks. That sounds terrible.
At the scale that we've been crowdfunded, it certainly created new opportunities and possibilities because the funding was much stronger than I had originally thought. I mean, because when I originally did it, I thought, oh, I could make a smaller game and it would be more like a privateer or a freelancer and have a cutscene as you go down to a planet, and then you have a little limited area you interact on. And yeah, it's a much more limited design. But because we got all the extra funding, especially early, it's sort of like, oh, well, maybe we could really, go for the brass ring here and like my dream game, not the thing that I would have to do because this was a limited budget. And so it opened up the scope of the game, which at the time the community, they voted to say, yes, we would like to do these extra things like procedural planets and all the rest of the stuff. But then when you build the game much bigger, it's just exponentially more complicated, more things to do, so it obviously takes longer. And I guess maybe the only other downside is we're the big thing, and so everyone's like, oh, $1 billion, where are you? What are you doing? And
I like Chris, man. You know what? I don't have the history you guys had with this guy, but I really like him. And he's saying such right things. I think the number one thing that he said that really resonated with me is that back in 2012, the internet was very different. Very different. The internet was so different than it is today. And today it's just a bunch of cynical people who are very upset with life most of the time. And they take it out on these devs or these creators. And they don't believe in something like this big or think that devs just sit around and do nothing all day when most of them are pouring their heart and soul into something, and it's like, I mean, I understand. Again, I came into the project really, recently or whatever. I backed back in 2016, but I, committed fully last August. I understand that there's been a lot of turmoil and stuff, but I think a lot of it is growing pains, and a lot of it is has improved since then. And it's just cool to see Chris have such a lighthearted take on it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're the CEO of this company, or if you're the guy who created all this and you hear all this crap, it's got to take a toll. And it doesn't seem like it is for him, because I think at the end, he knows if you hold the line, you get to experience something great. And right now, it's something great. So anyway, sorry.
Like, you haven't finished yet. You guys are a scam. You're idiots. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, we're just trying to make best game we possibly can. Everyone at Cloud Imperium loves what they do, and they're working really hard to get everything finished as quickly as they possibly can. It's a really big, ambitious goal. So maybe that's the only downside is, the success just makes you more visible, and then there's some level of people that kind of like to rag on that. But I'm happy with how it's turned out, just because I'm literally, like I said, getting to build the game of my dreams. And I think it's the game of a lot of the people that are backing the streams, and that's one of the reasons why it works.
Yep.
When I was doing...
If this is your dream, Let me know in the comments or type 1 in the chat if this is your dream game. It really is mine. I'm not kidding. Like 100%.
Freelancer, I don't know if you remember, but I'd actually talked about doing a freelancer online, and the idea was this living, breathing universe
So cool.
that all these players played in. It would affect the economy and do everything. And it was sort of when Ultima Online was taking off, and there is an online.
Ultima Online? Hold on, I gotta go back. He said my game. That was my other game. That was my first game. Hold on, he said it. Wait.
When I was doing freelancer, I don't know if you remember, but I'd actually talked about doing a freelancer online, and the idea was this living, breathing universe that all these players played in. It would affect the economy and do everything. And it was sort of when Ultima Online was taking off, and there is an online version of Freelancer that you can play, and I think modders keep it alive, and that's pretty cool. But what Star Citizen is now is sort of like the ultimate evolution of that. It's like the dream of the fully realized, detailed universe that you can go do anything with, millions of other people. And that is the ultimate goal for Star Citizen, and was sort of the original vision that I had when I was talking about Freelancer Online. Much the same way that I think Squadron 42, that we're just in the process of finishing off now, is like the ultimate version of how I would do a Wing Commander with resources that you wouldn't normally get. And I'm actually really quite looking forward to people playing the game, because there's been a lot of work to make the sort of story and the game basically seamless in how it goes in and out. It's very fluid. Star Citizen has high fidelity, but Squadron takes it to another level, because we know it's much more limited in terms of like set pieces and epic action. Those are absolutely like handcrafted and beautiful. And for me, it's my love letter to all the movies that I like grew up with. I hope people like it like much as I do, and how much I have fun making.
I have chills and goosebumps everywhere with that. Like, dude, and the freaking the horns, like the Squadron 42 like soundtrack, dude. Oh my gosh, man. Like everything he just said too. Gosh, man, I'm so excited for Squadron this year. It's coming out this year. Pessimistic people, shush. It's coming out this year, and if it doesn't, I will do something crazy.
So one of the biggest things that takes us time is we've had systems that we wrote years ago when people were thinking, oh, the game's not gonna need all this, and then we got to go, okay, that system's not good enough. We need to refactor the system so it scales better when there's a lot of players. So we want to have as big as possible player environments at the highest concurrency. So we don't quite know what the ceiling is going to be, but with dynamic, it allows us to be much more flexible, because we can dynamically spin up more and more servers to sort of collapse down the servers taking care of people. So, I mean, the goal is to have 10,000 plus people in a shard or an instance.
10,000? 10,000 in a shard? Dude, that's amazing. If that's their goal, that's incredible, dude. 10 grand in one shard, guys. 10,000 people. Oh my word.
Right now we run 700 to 800 people on one. We'll probably break over 1,000, I'm pretty sure, this year. When we go dynamic, maybe 1,000 to 2,000. There's still.
When we go, so he said this year, when we go dynamic, we'll break 1,000 to 2,000. Guys, these freaking guys are cooking, man. Chat, this is it, baby. This is the year. I said this a million times. Watch my videos. This is the year.
Optimization that has to happen in like the engine for just general simulation stuff. Because it's a really interesting like engineering challenge, because like most game programmers don't consider how a game will run when you would have thousands of players. I mean, they usually don't consider when you have thousands of just entities or objects. For me, that's fun, because then it makes the universe itself gets alive when you have lots of players. I mean, it's already like in Star Citizen when we went from 100 to 600 to 700 when we did the shards. It's suddenly like you would be at a space station, you can see other players come and go in a way that you wouldn't have done when there was just 100 players and a whole star system. And so you want a universe that feels alive. The problem with the way that we want to do Star Citizen is there's no game engine that like out of the box does the things that we do. And so a lot of what dictated the sort of creation of Star Engine, the vision of being able to essentially have no loading screens, it's all seamless, all first person, super high fidelity and detail, and also have the entire system be persistent. So, if you drop a Coke can in a forest somewhere and walk away. That Coke can is remembered, the state of the universe is remembered. So unless someone comes and takes it, it will still be there if you came back even in a month's time or whatever.
That's so
Having
sick.
the tech to sort of do that at that scale, you couldn't get it in Unreal, you couldn't get it in CryEngine, you couldn't get it in any. So we had to build all that. That's one of the biggest reasons of the length and the time and the cost of the project.
Taking and building a brand new engine is a lot of work and a lot of time, guys. I love that he said that. I have to just speak on this real quick. Because it's always about, oh, this game is $1 billion and is not out yet. It's 12 years. Why are they taking so long? Because there's no engine in the world that will ever be able to handle this game ever. It's never going to happen. So they have to build an engine, and building an engine isn't easy, and it's not cheap. Thank you, Chris. Man, I'm going to get so slammed for being on Chris's side. I like this guy. I don't give a crap. I like this guy. He's creating my dream game. He's not going to give me a dime. I'm not doing this for any reason. I like this guy. I really do. He's genuine. I can tell he's kind. I can feel I don't know. I like him.
I personally think in terms of like a game experience, because when you actually get in and experience sort of the freedom that allows you, the sense of you can go anywhere and it's there and it's real. I see a lot of people play, despite all the bugs and all the issues I've got, Star Citizen gives me a sense of freedom that way that I don't get in any other game. And that's enabled by that technology. And so it was definitely...
Where's the space whales? Wow. Gosh, they're huge. Where are they? I want to see a space whale. That's my dream. From now on, that's my new dream, chat. I want to see a space whale. That's what I want. I want to see a space whale one day.
Worth it to build that. It just took a lot of time to do that. Besides just building something of the scale of Star Citizen, scaling a company to be able to do that is also, it's like a separate game. So we're now about 1,000 people around the world. We've got 4 studios. That's very different than when you started and you only had a few people working on it, and then it's 20 and then 50. It becomes a big challenge just because it's such a big project and there's so much to do. And then we also have the added complexity of it's a live game. So as we're working on it, people are playing it and we can't be breaking it. So it's sort of like working on the engine of your car in the middle of a race and trying to still stay in the race.
Wow. Dude, guys, I'm sorry. Like, I know these aren't like revolutionary things that he's saying, but it puts things into perspective. You're trying to build an engine of a car while it's racing. That's so true. And all you hear is the driver complaining the whole time, even though you're making the engine better so that he can run it better, so he can actually win a race and not be the slow idiot in the back. You're making it better for him. He's complaining the whole time and telling you suck and telling you you're taking too long and all this stuff. Do you see? It's literally put into perspective for you. Gosh, dude, I love this, man. I don't know. I love this. I love it.
One of the problems that always happens is as the game becomes bigger and more featured with more content, more functionality and features, that also means there's more things that can go wrong when you add a new feature. So in terms of the extra testing you've got to do, someone could do something in a system over here and not realize that it breaks something over here. So all that sort of ramps up as the game gets bigger and closer towards finish. I mean, I will say that Star Citizen's never going to stop being developed because it's a live product, so it's going to exist and we'll always be adding content and functionality and features. It'll be a living product. But there is our sort of version of 1.0 is what we would consider, okay, this is the sort of a set of features that describe the Star Citizen experience, and of course we'll add things in the future on top of this, but this is what we consider. It's not alpha anymore. This is released game, so to speak. We outlined that 2 years ago at CitizenCon, and so that's what we're working towards. And so it was good to sort of finally sort of put a line in it and say, okay, these are all the things that we need to do. So everyone on the development side has a very focused goal for that, which is great. I mean, look, I started in the game industry in the mid 80s, and one of the things I always liked about it was sort of that feeling of being on the frontier and doing new stuff and stuff that you didn't think was possible. And so that's definitely what Star Citizen for me is. It's all like, well, can we really do everything at this detail and fidelity with thousands of players all concurrently online at the same time? And when we started, it was like, maybe not, but we've sort of stubbornly sort of worked towards there, and still a lot of work, but it sort of feels like we're closer to the finish line than we are from the start line.
Damn, man. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. I'm sorry. That was so good. Holy crap. That was good. I needed that, dude. That was like, that filled my hopium and copium cups all the way to the very top. I already know what some of the people in the chat will say and some of the comments will say, and I understand. Chris Roberts, well, you know, you can't trust everything he says. I think that he just has a genuine vision for this game and some things that he wants to do. For instance, 10,000 players, that's going to be tough. Will we ever see that? I don't know. But that's what he wants. That's his vision. And he's always stuck to his vision, and I'm good with him sticking to his vision. That excited me so much, dude. You cannot trust his dates. Yeah, I mean, he didn't give any dates there. He just gave some really cool info, and it's kind of exciting. Yeah, but that was awesome. Great interview, great thing. If you guys like this video, please leave a like on it. Sub to the channel if you haven't already, of course, and let me know down in the comment section below if I am completely oblivious to things, or if I'm right on, or maybe you are on my side and we're positive together, or maybe you hate me because I'm too positive. Who knows? Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, 07s, God bless, and I will see you in the next video.